Welcome to Wish I'd Known Then podcast. I'm Sarah Rosette.
And I'm Jamie Albright. And this week on the show we have
Melissa Bourbon.
Yes, it's so good, y'all. It's about Pinterest. And I learned a bunch of stuff, because I don't really know much about Pinterest at all.
Yeah, I've used Pinterest forever, but I've fallen off the wagon, I guess you'd say, about it. I used to create a pin for or a board for every book and pin all my research stuff and interesting things and stuff. But I stopped doing that recently. And then now it's a different way to use Pinterest, basically. I'm using it for readers as bonus content, but this is just a way to get the word out.
She uses it for the way she talks about it. Pinterest is just a big search engine, and I love that. And she has courses, but she also writes under multiple pen names. It sounds like she's more traditionally published than indie published, but she does have some indie published books. But yeah, it was a great interview.
Yeah, so that's coming up, and it was very helpful for me. I have lots of ideas now to do things with. What do you have going on? You have big news?
I do have big news. I have a first draft, y'all.
We need the applause sound.
Yeah, so I finished it on Monday. And what's today, Wednesday? So all day Monday I cried after I finished it, and it's just such a relief. Just a relief that I could finish something and have a story. It's a mess, as we've said. It's a mess, my husband asked today, so what happens next? I said, well, I'm taking a few days just to not do anything. I'm going to read it over the weekend, and then Monday I'll start. And he was like, you say it's first draft, but what does that mean? I was like, it means it's got to be pulled apart and put back together is what it means. But yeah, it's a relief. It's a relief. I'm very grateful. And people have been so kind about, I made a video about
encouraging.
it. Yeah, they have been. They've been readers and other authors alike. One woman said, I don't think I've ever been so happy for a person that I've never met before. It was so sweet.
It is a big deal. And this book is very close to your heart, and you've thought about this for a long time, right? Yeah. And so I can see why you'd be emotional over it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's really my biggest news. Right. So what's going on with you?
Okay, so I'm gearing up to do the special edition release. I keep having things happen, and it's slowing me down a little bit, but I am doing a fun thing because it's been a while since this first book came out. This is the spinoff series set in Egypt in 1920. The first one came out last year. Since it's been a year, this one, if they order from me, you can include a PDF in Book Vault when they send out the book. You can include a PDF, and a lot of people just have a lot of people don't do anything, which is what I've done before, but you can include something. So this time I made up this thing in Canva. It looks like a newspaper.
Oh my gosh.
It looks like an old timey newspaper, but it's printable, cool, so people could print it. Yeah. But it's a lot of the things that have happened, and it will help people catch up and remember, this person does that. And then there's a lot of little Easter eggs when they read the second book, which is all about letters and secrets, and newspapers play a big role in it, like in clues and stuff. So I thought this would be a good tie-in thing. And then I'll probably have it later as a free download. If you sign up for my list, you can get this. Yeah. But that was a lot of fun to create. So I did that. So that was fun. And that's been on my list of things that I wanted to do, and I just haven't had time to do it. So I'm doing that, and still working on the trope book. It's coming along.
Very good.
Yeah, that is about it.
All right.
Yeah, nothing else super exciting.
No. Coming to the end of, it's not the end of summer.
Yes, but it feels like it, right?
Starting next week here.
Yeah, I went in Chipotle to get lunch yesterday, and it's been really deserted, like quiet. And I was like, what are all these people doing here? And it's Meet Your Teacher Day. So everybody was going to the school. It's all these moms and dads with little kids. I was like, what is going on? School's starting.
School's starting. So, and one more thing, I am going to start doing a series of workshops, but online workshops. So I'm going to start this month. So on August the 26th, it's 2 hours. I'm going to do Load Your Book to KDP for new people who've never loaded a book to KDP before. The sessions will be recorded. And so I feel like this would be good for people. So even if you haven't finished your book yet, you can record this, and then you'll have a reference to go back. And I know KDP and other places do it, but this is also a chance for us to have a significant designated time to sit down and do this. Also, to ask questions. There'll be a time to ask questions. I've really been wanting to do something for new authors. So I'm going to do that on the 26th. And there'll be the link in the show notes. And then on August the 28th, I'm going to do a launch workshop. Now, your girl hasn't launched in a while, but that doesn't mean I haven't been thinking about launching, especially since I finished this book. And I've been looking at a lot of things and a lot of the things that are going on. And I'm in a couple of really good groups where we talk about stuff like this. And it's not just me leading. We're going to brainstorm. We're going to think of some things that maybe we haven't thought about before, or maybe we can come together. So I'm going to do that. I'm looking at doing one on taglines for your blurbs and your ad copy and stuff, and just some other things in where we can come together as a community, and it'll be about 30 people. And if somebody wants to volunteer their blurb or something, we can brainstorm and work it. But when I do the tagline one, but these are just workshops that I'm putting together so that we can come together and have a space where you can ask questions and get not just my opinion, but some other people's opinions.
Yeah, there's something that happens when you get several people together. It somehow levels up the brainstorming. And remember, we did a taglines little mini session. I think it was at Inkers last year, and that was a lot of fun. And we got some really great ideas going. So it's going to be that same format. It sounds like. And
it is.
So the link will be in the show notes for that.
Yes, for both of them.
Yeah,
and
so
that one will be 2 hours.
Okay, so the first one is on the 26th, uploading the book, and you're going to upload a book and show them how to do it.
I'm going to walk through and upload a book. So
if you want to see it firsthand, then that's a great thing to get into, because then you can stop and ask questions. And and there's always questions, especially when you do something new for the first time. Right?
Also, we'll have the recording, so if you can't make it, you can still get the recording and save it for when it's time.
But for as long as there's been KDP, there's been basically 3 screens you have to go through, and sometimes you change things up a little bit on the screen. It's basically the same upload. So if you do that, you'll know what to do.
Right, and it's not hard, but I think it's daunting. And so I think we have people in our audience who have a book and it's done, and they're sitting there going, I don't know what to do next. For those people, I want to help you. And if our audience knows people like that, please tell them about it, because if not, you're going to have to get on a call with them and show them how to do it. Let me do it. Let me do that for you.
Yeah. And even if your book is not completely ready, you could still do it and keep it in draft. You can create everything in draft and just save it in draft. So it's almost all done. And then when you're ready to launch, you just upload your cover in your book and double check it, and you're good to go.
There you go. Yeah. And then the launch one will be on the 28th. The times will be when you go to sign up. There's a whole thing where you sign up and it'll tell you the time. You'll get a reminder. And I know
it's so savvy of you.
I know. I'm so savvy, y'all. And it'll be good. I think that will be good. And it's something, if you've just put your book up, you might want to know how to launch it. We can do both, and you can get some ideas, because it on KDP is not enough. We know that.
Yeah, you definitely need a plan.
Yeah. So that's me. Yeah.
Terrific. Okay, great. We should get on to the interview.
Yes, let's do.
Melissa Bourbon is the author of multiple mystery series, including the book Magic Mysteries, Magical Dressmaking Mysteries, Lola Cruz Mysteries, and the Bread Shop Mysteries. Under her new pen name, Ivy Cassidy, she writes emotionally rich women's fiction infused with folklore, legacy, and quiet magic. When she's not writing, she's mentoring writers through Writer Spark Academy, designing book covers, and enjoying life with her 3 dogs.
Wow, you're a busy lady.
Yeah, my father used to say this. I think it was Benjamin Franklin actually that said it, but Lucille Ball that sort of made it famous, that if you need something done, ask a busy person. That's definitely me.
It's true.
It's not all those book series and covers and helping authors. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's
a lot going on.
Yeah. Tell us how you got into writing. Let's start there, and then we'll work our way down the list.
I was a English major, and then I taught English language arts middle school and a little bit of high school early on and proceeded to have children of my own. And I taught middle school at the time before middle grade fiction was a thing. There's wasn't very much out there that was specific for that grade level. And when I went on maternity leave the first and second times, I just wanted to do something to keep my brain active. And so I wrote a story. And I had written a little bit in college in creative writing, but I got like a C- on a story that I had written about stealing a car with my roommate. That was based on a true story when we stole this car to like take revenge on her. I just was along for the ride, but she was taking revenge on her ex-boyfriend. And I wrote it into a story, and the teacher was a TA. He writes, C-, write what you know next time. And so I didn't write creatively for a long time after that until I was on maternity leave. And that's when I started writing. And from there, it just evolved. I didn't know anything. And it took a long time from there to actually decide I was going to try to seek publication. Yeah. I wrote a bunch of things before I wrote the first thing that got published. That kind of lit the fire. Yeah. My first book was published in 2008.
Oh, okay. Wow. And that was with a traditional publisher, correct?
Yes, that was with St. Martin's Press, Done Books, and that was Living the Vida Lola.
No, very good.
Yeah. What is your definition of success?
That's a really good question. I guess there are levels of success or maybe categories of success, because obviously you're successful in having published the books that I have, and successful in initially finding an agent and then finding an editor and all of those things. Financially, I think success is whatever number you put out there to feel like you've made it. And I don't know that I've reached that financial level of success yet. I can't say that I'm not successful. So yeah, financially successful, maybe not, but successful overall, yes. I think that I've met my goals. I have accomplished a lot, and I'm proud of what I've accomplished. So to me, I think that defines success, that I'm proud of what I've accomplished.
Very good. What do you wish you'd known about writing and craft before you started?
Oh my goodness. I think that the biggest takeaway that from early on is to follow your gut and to work with people who truly love your work. My first agent experience, I had an offer for representation from 2 agents at the same time after months and months and months and months and many rejections. And then weirdly, I got 2 offers at the same time. And one was a small boutique agency, and it was this woman's agency, and she loved the Lola Cruz series. And the other was from a big agent in a big agency, and she also said she loved the series. And I was very green. I didn't know anything or anybody, and I took the advice of people around me, and everybody said go with the big agent, which is what I ended up doing. And I don't have regrets, because it led me to where I am now, and I have happy with where I am now. But I always do wonder what would have happened had I gone with the other agent, because we edited that book for a good while, and she, unbeknownst to me, really repped a lot of romance. So she wanted to up the romance element series and downplay the mystery of it. So that's what we did. And at some point it ceased to be my book. I felt like my voice was gone. It was not the book that I wanted it to be. She could never sell it. And I think that's why, because it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And we ended up amicably parting ways, and I went with her assistant, who went out on her own. And I was with that agent for 16 years. And we took it back to the original mystery that it was, with romantic elements. And it sold in a month and a half after that. I don't have regrets, but I feel like if I had gone with my gut and gone with these other boutique, smaller agent who really loved what I had written the way it was, I wonder what my path might have been. Yeah. But in the end, I did follow my gut, and we took it back to my voice, and I'm very happy with that series and everything. Yeah. But yes, I think it's just following your gut and working with people that are truly passionate about your work and that are going to champion you.
I think that's true too.
That happens a lot. I think even when you're indie published, because you get feedback early on, and you have to figure out, am I going to take this feedback and make it, am I going to take it in this direction, or am I going to keep it the way it is? Does it need to go in a different direction? And it takes a while to figure all that out.
Yeah, I'm a freelance editor too. And then I have friends who are writing books. And I'm always telling people, be careful who you take critique from, because you have to know, first of all, that they have your best interest at heart.
Right,
And
correct.
second of all, that they know what they're talking about, that they understand character development and story structure and all of these things that they're telling you to change or fix or keep. Do you trust them to know what they're talking about? So be careful who you take that advice from and who are your critique partners.
Very true. What about marketing? What do you wish you'd known about that?
Oh, goodness. Everything. I wish I had known that social media does not sell books. I know that there are exceptions to every rule. Obviously, there are breakout situations and there are TikTok famous authors and things you cannot control.
Right. That luck factor.
No control over. But in general, I wish I had known that spending hours on Facebook and trying to sing and dance. I didn't really sing and dance, but sing and dance on TikTok and go through the endless scroll of Twitter and being on Instagram, that none of it actually sells books. I feel like those were so many hours wasted. You're building community and you're building brand awareness in some cases, which is important. I do love Instagram for a lot of reasons. I hate Facebook now. I'm rarely on Facebook if I can avoid it. And TikTok and Twitter, not at all, because I am busy and I feel like I need to pick and choose where I'm going to spend my time.
Right.
I want to sell books. That is my career, right? And I want to sell courses. That's the other thing I do, and book cover design. So I want to be in a place where that is happening, where that's going to be helpful in making those connections and reaching readers and reaching clients. And generally speaking, I feel like it's not on social media. I wish I had learned that a lot sooner. I had discovered Pinterest a lot sooner.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
What are you glad you know now besides Pinterest?
I think not being afraid of making change. So I, first of all, have evolved in what I've written. So I've written cozy mysteries. I've written the Caper Mysteries, the Lola Cruz series. And now I've transitioned into writing more women's fiction with stream magical elements. And I know we're told as authors to pick a lane and stay there because it's easier for marketing. That is definitely true. But also you have to follow your heart and write what you want to write. And I was feeling very uninspired with continuing the series that I was writing at the time. And instead of sticking with that, because that's what I was told to do, I wasn't afraid to try and branch out and write what I was passionate about. So that's definitely one thing. And the other thing that I feel I've not been afraid of was changing agents. So when I made this shift, my agent at the time, who was amazing, but we had a talk and decided that she wasn't the best person to rep this new direction because her expertise and her connections and her network was in a different direction. It was in romance and cozy mysteries and things like that. And she made a referral, which was wonderful, but I ended up changing agents. And that has been honestly the best thing because it really invigorated me to work with somebody new, somebody who was so excited about what I was writing. We sold that book pretty quickly. It's been a really great experience. So I think not getting stuck in a rut or fear of changing is just so important. And I'm glad that I know that now, that I'm okay with embracing those types of change.
Yeah, because people say publishing, when you're querying, it can take forever to hear back, but publishing changes fast all the time. Trends and things are changing all the time. So that's smart to be that way. What do you still need to figure out?
Oh my gosh, so much still. I feel like as writers, we're always growing and learning. I know how to write a book. I know story structure. I feel like every book that I write is a little bit better in some ways. And then as I push myself into a new area, I'm continuing to grow there. I feel like I will always be growing in my craft. And then in terms of marketing, which is where my other real passion is right now, I know there's no silver bullet, still trying to crack the code of what is really going to help actually sell my books or sell my courses or whatever that is.
That's a good way to put it. Crack the code.
Crack the code.
I don't know that there is a way to crack it, but get as far along as you can in as positive a way as you can.
What's the most unhelpful advice you've gotten?
I think going back to that agent story, listening to people that didn't necessarily know what they were talking about, the blind leading the blind kind of thing. So I feel like it's not necessarily unhelpful advice, but advice that maybe I should not have followed because I didn't know enough and they didn't know enough. Just being careful who you take that advice from, because I've taken advice from people that I feel like I shouldn't have. The
Vetting people.
Yeah.
There is a danger in running something up the flagpole so many times to get so many opinions that everything gets diluted. But on the other hand, you do need to vet who you're taking advice from. You need to know that they know what they're talking about, or they've had some success in some way, or have helped others have success in some way. And so it's a fine line.
It is.
Because you could be paralyzed by just asking and not moving forward.
Yeah, and then getting bombarded with people giving you different advice and not knowing what direction to go, and then you just get stuck because you're just stymied on what do I do?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I love clarity. So if there's like a whole bunch of different options as input, what's the biggest change you've had to make in your thinking?
I would go back to that social media element of, we just all spend so much time on social media. I recently read a book called The Anxious Generation, and it's really about the impact on the brain that social media and cell phones, video games, all of that has had post 2010. And it just struck home in so many ways that it's so destructive in so many ways to our brains, to our way of life, to our interpersonal relationships. I try to be really intentional about where I'm spending my time and not just being wasteful with it and in ways that might negatively impact my life or my brain or my relationships. So the biggest change I think in my thinking is really moving away from social media and just not spending my time there because of what I perceive to be the negative impacts of that in general. And as it pertains to my writing career, it's not serving me. So that's a twofold reason for that big change.
Yeah, that's true. If you were starting over today, what would you do differently?
I think that if I was starting now and I didn't know anything, I would make a point of trying to learn as much as I could, probably faster. I felt like my learning curve was very steep and too slow because I trusted other people and I just wanted to write my books and I was very naive. And so I feel like it took me a long time to learn the things that could have helped me or benefited me or put me on a different trajectory. So I think if I was starting now, I would try to really embrace learning more about the industry, but also about indie publishing. As you said, Sarah, the industry is just changing so much every single day. And indie publishing is huge. I was a very sort of late adopter. I was afraid of taking that leap. I had my traditional books and I didn't know what it meant to be indie published, and I was afraid of not being traditionally published and all of those things. And all of that's changed now, and I've embraced it. I've gotten the rights back to several series, and I have indie published them. And the control that you have, I think, is so fantastic. I love having that control and looking at the data and seeing all of that. So I just think learning about everything that I could before deciding which path I wanted to go in and not being afraid to jump in and try something that I feel might work.
It's a huge transition moving from trad to indie, or because it does seem overwhelming because there's so much. And if you don't go and if your goal is to go indie from the beginning, there's still so much to learn.
So much.
You got to write the book and then you got to learn how to market it. And it's just a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. But just to say, when you started, there wasn't a lot of information. And let's see, 2008.
That's early.
Yeah, I started writing in 2002. That's when I really was like, okay, I'm going to actually maybe try and do something with this. Yeah.
Yeah. There really was just one path then. But I get what you're saying. And I've talked about that before. I spent a year learning this business before I published because I just knew that I had such a steep learning curve. I was older. There were so many things I didn't understand and I'm so grateful I did because it paid off in the end. But yeah, And that's why Sarah and I do this podcast for educational purposes. Yes.
I had a podcast for a while. I'm on hiatus, but the Writer Spark podcast. And that's why I teach the courses. I'm a teacher at heart.
Yeah.
And I really do believe it takes a village. And I really do believe that we need each other and we learn from each other. And we have so much that we can glean from other people's experiences. So we're very much on the same page with that, trying to pay it forward. I'm very much a pay it forward kind of person.
Tell us the courses you teach.
Oh, okay. So it's Writer Spark Academy, and I teach a course on how to write a cozy mystery, one on how to write a novel, which is just a very comprehensive, covering all of the things, point of view, mood and tone, dialogue, hero's journey, 3x structure, just all of it. I teach a course on foundations of world building and a couple of small mini courses, and then the course on Pinterest power for authors. So those are like the Pinterest, the cozy mystery, and the how to write a novel are my 3 sort of quote unquote master courses that I offer.
That's great.
Let's talk about Pinterest. Yeah, that was one reason I wanted to have you on the podcast. Was you seem to really be using Pinterest to your advantage. You've got it working for you. So tell us how you use it. And it's not I'd say it's not a social media platform, right? It's more of a research, learning, information platform.
Yeah, it's a search engine is what it is. So it's more likened to Google than it would any of the social medias, because when you put a post on any social media, there's a lifespan for that post, whether it's 20 minutes on Twitter, it could be 4 to 5 days on TikTok, unless, again, there are the outliers, things that the successes we can't control. But in general, Instagram, you're looking at, I don't know, a day. With Facebook, you're looking at a couple of days. And then those posts are gone and they're not searchable. Hashtags are searchable, but there's so many posts that are going up there constantly that even if you were to search cozy mysteries or like culinary cozy mysteries or something, the odds of my Instagram post showing up are very slim because there's so much content out there. Facebook stuff's not even searchable. Whereas Pinterest is a search engine. So people go to Pinterest because they have a pain point or a question or a problem that they want an answer to, or they're looking for something specific. So people go to Pinterest with the intent that they're going to leave Pinterest. Whereas in social media, they just scroll. They're there. Getting them to click out of social media, out of a Pinterest out of an Instagram post or out of a Facebook post, that is not what they're there to do. They have communities, or they have a sense of belonging on Instagram and Facebook and social media. So, I mean, it serves a purpose. On Pinterest, though, if somebody is looking for how to do Halloween decorations for my kids' party, they're going with the intent of finding something, clicking out to that blog post, learning what they want or getting the inspiration that they want, and then moving on. And it's the same with people looking for books. So a cozy mystery, fall themed with ghosts. So they've put that in and they're going to get their results. And then if that's what they're looking for, they're going to save it, or they're going to click on it, explore more, and then hopefully buy it. So the results of people on Pinterest, is very measurable, because you can see how many people are being driven to your site from Pinterest. If you have access to your data dashboard, I use WordPress, so I can see how many people are coming to my website directly from Pinterest. And then I can kind of look at the correlation between my book sales, what I've been pinning on Pinterest, or trends, time of year, seasonal trends are huge on Pinterest. And I can see the impact on my indie sales. Less obvious on traditional. You don't have that data. But with my indie published books on KDP, I can see that correlation. So to me, Pinterest is the only place I want to spend my time when it comes to marketing. Now, as I said, I'm still on Instagram. I look at recipes and I look at art, and I'm posting a little bit now because of the new book that I have coming out, and I'm trying to build this brand awareness for it. But my intent is different there. I am trying to build brand awareness. I'm not trying to sell books, because I don't believe it works for selling books. But on Pinterest, I am trying to sell books. I'm building brand awareness also, but I am trying to sell books, and I can see that it works.
So tell us what type of pens you use, and do you use all different kinds, and what your graphics look like and things like that?
Yeah, they're all different kinds. Obviously I do a lot of book covers. I change it up. So sometimes I do a 3D book cover, sometimes a flat book cover, sometimes it's a series. So I have 35 books now, so I'm just always rotating. I think the misconception people have about Pinterest is that you post a pin. I'm going to post my Pleading for Mercy book cover, one and done, boom. And that's not the case. You continually post. And if you change up some element of your post, whether it's what your image looks like, what you say in your description, or what your title is, those are considered quote unquote fresh pins from Pinterest. So it's new content, and that's what Pinterest wants. So they're going to continue to show it. And then when you use keywords in your titles, in the way you save your image, in your descriptions, the algorithm, Pinterest indexes all of that data, and then that's how your pins get shown. So I use my book covers, I change up the descriptions, I repost them. I do text heavy or like text overlay, especially depends on what I'm trying to promote. But like for my courses, I might say how to write a cozy mystery course or something with a mystery kind of a background or something like that. Quotes from books, text heavy quotes, things that are bold, things that are very visible, that are easy to read from afar, just like you want a book cover that is bold and visible in a thumbnail. Same thing with pins. So any text that you want on your pin, you want it very visible as people are scrolling because you want to catch their attention. I do recipes, and my recipes are super successful pins. And I say this in my course that I do and my talks that I do on Pinterest. My recipes has that selling books, but my cozy mysteries. So a lot of my cozy mysteries are culinary or have recipes in them. And even when they don't, I like to bake and cook. So I tie it in. So if I put a recipe, it links to my blog on my website where that recipe, it links to the recipe page. That's part of my blog. I have an excerpt from the book, why this recipe is here, how it connects to my writing or my book. And then I have a link to the book. And I can see how many people came to my website from that recipe pin, and then how many people clicked from that post of my recipe to my book, to wherever I linked it to, whether it's my book page or the retail page. So I can see the bounce of how it works. So you just have to tap into elements of your book, your series, hooks, crafts, whatever it is. You were writing a horror mystery that takes place in Maine, then I would be totally focusing on Maine and things and driving people to my website. Then having a blog. So I drive people to my blog. I firmly believe you should have a blog, but for a specific reason, like with intent. So I will do book quotes, and I will do the recipes, and I will write articles like 5 witchy things to do this Halloween. And I've got a Halloween themed book and in one of my series. And then I have my upcoming book that's witchy. And so I'm directing people there. Once they're on my website, they get prompted to join my newsletter, which is your best selling tool. Then they get prompted to follow a link somewhere. So it's getting people onto the website is really important.
So if I have my website, but then I also have a direct sales store. So would you send people to the direct sales store, or would you send them to the website?
Do they get to your direct store from your website?
Yeah, they can. Yeah.
I would do both. So I would send people to as many places as you want to. The more you change up the pins or where you're sending, as long as you can direct them there, then the more that Pinterest likes it, because those are fresh pins. You're changing some element. So as long as they can get to your direct store from your website, then absolutely. But I would send some directly to the direct store and to that book page.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then you mentioned like new pins and fresh pins. If somebody was just getting started, say, what would you recommend like to start? Because I've seen recommendations to pin several times a day. And most of the time that's probably not realistic for authors. We're not going to do that.
And then you get into the whole thing of being stuck on social media again.
Like you're recreating that just somewhere else, right?
Yeah. No, I think that whatever you do, you just want to set yourself up for success and be consistent. Like any other platform, Pinterest favors consistency. And so they're going to show your stuff if they know that you're consistent. So if I was when I did just start out, I posted maybe 2 a week consistently for quite a long time. Then it was 3 a week. And then I learned how to batch create and I learned how to schedule. Pinterest has a native scheduler that makes it so easy. You can schedule things 30 days in advance. I just would batch create, sit down and spend 2 hours while I'm watching Outlander and make a bunch of pins and then spend another hour the next day or whenever and schedule them. And then 3 hours and I'm done for the month.
Yeah.
And if you have templates, which I use on Canva, I pretty much use Canva, sometimes BookBrush, it makes it so easy because you're not reinventing the wheel. You're not like reinventing pins every single time using the template and just changing out the quote or the cover or a picture element or something. And all of that makes it a fresh pin. And then I use AI to write a lot of my description and titles to help me come up with the best pin titles and then keyword heavy descriptions. AI can be a really great tool when used responsibly.
It should be a bumper sticker right there.
No, exactly.
Some people need it tattooed on their forehead. But
yeah.
What about, have you ever done Pinterest ads?
I have done a couple early on. And yeah, they boosted things temporarily, but I would rather find my success without having to pay extra money. I want to do things as economically as possible, generally speaking. So I don't pay for a third-party scheduler. I don't pay for ads anymore. I've done maybe 3 over the course of 4 years. Yeah, I think that part of what we talked about earlier, cracking the code, is understanding search engine optimization to some degree, just to a basic level, which is SEO. And that comes down to keywords. It comes down to what the algorithm is looking for and how they identify elements within your pin that is going to then help them show it to people who are looking for that type of content. And so for me, I would rather understand that and use my keywords and make sure that my title and my description and the way I save my image are all keyword heavy so that Pinterest is doing the work for me without me having to pay them. So
that's good. How do you find the keyword? How do you know which keywords to use? Is there a system for that? Is there a place you can go? Do you use AI for that? How do
you can take my course and find out all kinds of things.
I was going to say, besides the course, but we do recommend the course.
No, when you are on the Pinterest site and you go to the search bar at the top, so say I want to write in, I don't know, cozy fall, autumn themed cozy mystery. So you start to type in, say, cozy mystery, and you get a drop down list, just like you do in Google. You get a list of things. Those are the things that people are searching. So then you can go through that list and see what applies to what I am writing or what I'm pinning about. And so those are keywords. So those are keyword phrases that you can use to embed. And I just create a list I use Scrivener for everything. So I've got my Pinterest Scrivener file and I have a tab or a section for keywords. And so I have lists of keywords that I've compiled over time. So if it's my magical dressmaking cozy mystery series, here's my list of keywords. And if it's my bread shop one, here's my list of keywords. If my witchy one, here's my list of keywords. And so that's one way to do it. Pinterest has a platform or like a tool to help you identify keywords. You could certainly ask AI to say, I write with AI, you have to be super specific. So my tip is to really be specific in how you're phrasing your question. So I am an author of a magical, cozy mystery series that features blah, 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 blah. And create a list of 20 high-performing keywords that I can then use and embed into my Pinterest descriptions and my Pinterest titles. And it'll help you generate that list. And there's tools like Everbee, and I mean, there are other third-party tools that'll help you identify keywords, but after a while you'll get your list and
just get used to it.
You're good. Once because we're promoting something that's pretty contained, right? We have a mystery series that's about a specific thing, or we have a horror that we write that's about a specific thing, or domestic suspense, or whatever it is. So a few elements might change, like location or lighthouses or different things like that. But in general, we can have a base set of keywords that we've identified that we can work to embed into a variety of our descriptions. And you're not going to put all keywords into one description, but that's why you do fresh pens and you repost. So I can do one description and one title that has these keywords and then another one that has these keywords. And so I'm mixing and matching, and that just increases the odds of visibility.
Okay. And then do you have lots of different boards that you pin to, or do you just have a few that you just repin to over and over again?
I have lots of different boards. You want to have a variety of boards for the same reasons. So it's a balancing act, I think. So you want Pinterest, you want their algorithm to understand what it is you offer. So I say there's some person out there, but basically the algorithm understands who you are, who wants to see the stuff that you put up there. And so you don't want to say, Melissa Bourbon Books, that's my board name, and I'm going to put everything about my books into that, because people aren't searching Melissa Bourbon Books. Maybe if you're Nora Roberts, okay, but they're not, they're not searching just your average authors necessarily. So you want to create your board titles that are keyword as well. So, cozy mystery series with ghosts, and then you put your stuff in there, but then you also repin other people's cozy mystery series with ghosts. Witchy things with witchy vibes, because I have the witch. So yes, you want to have multiple boards, and then you can save pins to different boards. So that's another way that you can operate using the same book cover. So I have a pin with my Pleading for Mercy book, for example, and I can have that pin, maybe change the description a little bit, and I've saved it to this board, and then I've saved it to this board, and then I've saved it to this board, and then I rework it again, and I save it to this board again, or I save it to a new board, or I save it to a group board. So whatever you're doing with intention and strategically, so your boards need to be titled and have descriptions that are keyword rich, so that you can save all of these pins to a variety of places where they can then be more discoverable.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It does. Let's talk about your pen names. First of all, so the information you've given us about Pinterest is great. And if you're familiar with Pinterest, you might be able to take this information and run with it. If there are people like me who really don't know a lot about Pinterest, then they can find your course at the academy, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Now let's talk about your pen names. So how many pen names did you say you have?
So I have 3. Third is coming up. Now, when I initially started, my first book was published under a different name, but that I regained the rights, and that name is no more, so I don't count those. Yeah. My given name is Melissa Bourbon. That is my maiden name. So that I know.
It's a good name.
I know, it's a good name. Thank you, Dad. So most of my books are published under that. Then my Bread Shop series was published by a different publisher. My first cozy series was with Penguin Random House. And so then my next series was with Kensington, and they wanted to put it out, of course, as a debut series, which they can do if they give you a new name. So that's why I have Winnie Archer, and those are my grandmother's names. And then I have this new thing that's women's fiction with with magic and a few mystery elements. It's not a mystery at all. And so that's completely different. And that's a traditional publisher. And so, of course, they want a new name, because they want retailers and everybody to be able to see this as its own thing, not connected to the mysteries. So they decided they needed a pen. Yeah. So it's Ivy Cassidy, and Ivy Culpepper is one of my heroines, and Harlow Cassidy is another heroine in my other series. So I took Ivy and Cassidy. So that's my pen name.
There you go.
So that's like a little Easter egg for people that read my other stuff.
Do you write in all 3 series at the same time? Are you writing in one series at a time? How do you do that?
So I write one book at a time. Right now I'm working on a Christmas novella for the dressmaking series called Fatale. The puns are the best. And so when I'm done with that, then I will move on. I've already plotted it pretty much, but then I'll move on to writing the next Ivy Cassidy book, which is a standalone book that's that women's fiction. Yeah. So only one book at a time, but I still am continuing the other series, just less frequently, because I just don't have time to keep up a fast publishing pace with the indie stuff. And I really want to focus on my women's fiction now.
Yeah. What do you wish you'd known about having multiple pen names?
It's really hard, very hard. I went through this dilemma when we came up with the Ivy Cassidy name, and what do I do? Does that mean I have to start new social media accounts under these names? My head was exploding. And so again, I just went back to keywords. And so I have my Instagram account. It's bookishly cozy, bookishly_cozy is my Instagram name. So it's not even my name.
Yeah.
And then both names, or all three names, are in my sort of bio. So I'm searchable in that way, because people can put in your name and you could come up that way. But my focus has changed to try to make Instagram posts mostly give more witchy vibes, since that's the direction of that particular series. People do manage to have multiple social media accounts in their different names. To me, that is just overwhelming and way too much to try and handle. So I just can't do that. And that, I think, is one of the biggest drawbacks, is that publishers want us to be on social media. And so you have to figure out a way that it can work for you. I just have a couple of posts that I put up on Instagram, and I've just embedded the names together. If I were to try and separate the names, I just couldn't do it. I just know I couldn't do it.
Your pen names are not secret, so that helps.
Yes. It was not. It's an open pen name. If it wasn't, then that would be a totally different ball game.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has been great. It's been just great to talk to you and kind of get your insight on Pinterest and these things that we don't really talk about that much. That's not a big topic in the author community. So thank you for that and your insight. We like to ask everybody, what is the best thing you think you've done to set yourself up for success?
I think two directions for that question to be answered for me. One is diversification. I look to Heidi Klum for this. I'm comparing myself to Heidi Klum. I'm not. But as a supermodel, right, your days are finite in what you can. And she, I think, has been really expert at diversification. All the different things that she has created and moved into. So she's got all of these different revenue streams, creative paths that she's done, entrepreneurial endeavors, and that has made her relevant and continues to make her relevant out of the supermodel career. And it continues to earn for her. For me, that's why I said earlier, I'm a teacher at heart, and that's why I create these courses. That's my sort of diversification. So I have my author path, but I have my courses where I teach, which I love to do. I do mentoring and coaching. I do freelance editing. And then my mom and my brother are actual fine artists. And so I have this creative side to me. I don't see the world through art and colors and shapes and images, but I enjoy it. So that's what led me to cover design. So I have all of these things that I've been able to diversify myself to increase my path to success in that respect. In terms of being an author only, I think that it's following my heart in what I want to write. I found myself just really dragging my feet writing the next book in these cozy series, because my heart just wasn't in that anymore. I felt like I wanted to push myself, and I had a different story to tell, and letting myself do that and following my heart, I think, has taken me in a new direction. And I think the opportunity for success is very great, this new direction, because it's a popular kind of fiction. Number one, I have an agent and an editor and a publishing house that are very 100% behind it, which is great. And I just feel really energized by it. So I think it's just following your heart, not trying to pigeonhole yourself into something, and not trying to force yourself to write something that you're not really that passionate about.
Yep.
I think it comes through in your voice when you're not that excited about it.
I think so too. Yeah. Where can people find out more about you and your books and your courses and all of that?
Okay, my author sites are Melissa Bourbon, just like the drink.com, and then ivycassidybooks.com. So two different websites for that. My Winnie Archer are embedded into my Melissa Bourbon website. And then my courses and cover design, it's all under Writer Spark. So Writer Spark, all one word. And it's writersparkbookcovers.com. That's where all my book cover design is. And then writersparkacademy.com, which is articles and the pay it forward element of just offering what I can to help people in this business, and then with links to my courses from there.
Great. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you for being here. This has been great.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
We will have all those links in the show notes. Thanks for listening today. You can support the podcast at wishihadknownforwriters.com/support. And you can find the show notes at that same place, but without the /support. We'll see everybody next week.
Bye.
Bye.